welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today I'm going to go over a story that was actually sent to me from a subscriber from my other channel, Strong Successful Male. However, it was so out there, so crazy, it's perfect for over here. This is about a guy, ex-husband and father, who I guess recently was awarded full custody of his kid after his now ex-wife definitely proved to the court she's an unfit mother on multiple fronts. And what did she do? Well, I'm going to let you find out in real time because believe me, holy crap, it is out there. And this story is a perfect example of beware of gals that will baby trap a man, and also beware of gals that are into horses. I'm going to leave it at that because a lot of gals that are into horses definitely have a reputation for being kind of oddballs and things like that, and it is no different here. So, starts off, says here, hello SSM. I've been wrestling with the end of my marriage for a few years now. I've been in therapy since then. Well, dude, after the way it ended, I can definitely understand why. My therapist has been encouraging me to find a place to open up. I've been watching your videos for a while, and your channel seems to be one of the few places online where someone can talk about messed up divorces and cheating. That's why I'm here, brothers. That's why I'm here. I met my now ex-wife in 2012. Her name was Megan. My company was doing remodeling work on her family property. Her mom and dad had recently passed away and left her everything. About 15 acres and a 5-bedroom rancher built in the 70s, a failing horse racing track, and a few horses. She was also left some cash. The exact amount, I'm not sure. If I had to guess, it was probably in the low 6 figures. Not enough to live on for a very long time, but enough for a 24-year-old woman to party with for a few years. She's 24 years old and both parents passed away. Given how this story goes, of how wacko she is, I got to question some things. I'm sure you all know what I'm getting at here. Well, Megan hired me to completely update the house. 60 or so new cabinets and a massive kitchen with a large walk-in pantry hidden behind a custom door that blended in with the other cabinets. 2 full bathroom remodels, new light fixtures, all cosmetic work, even through the HVAC. And electrical and plumbing were in rough shape. All in all, about $120,000 in labor and materials. Hey, that's a nice job. Well, my crew wrapped up most of the work in about 2 months. It was a very profitable job. Megan had mostly kept to herself while we worked, hardly home to be honest. The last part of the job was to install the custom pantry door and all the hardware. My new hire was supposed to be there to help me wrap up the job pretty quickly that evening, and then I could collect the final payment. Well, he called in sick, so I was on my own. I was going to cancel and come the next day to wrap it up, but when Megan called, she told me that she was having a brunch party the next morning and insisted I finish the job for the day. Uh-huh. Well, I told her I would have to work late to get it done since I was by myself, and she was okay with that. I got there about 6 p.m., later than I'm comfortable with on the job when the homeowner is on site. So, normally he does this when they're not around, let alone being there at night, alone, with a young, good-looking, single woman. I think some of you guys can see where this is going. Well, Megan rolled in around 7 p.m., and she was very talkative and flirting with me. My pace has slowed down to a crawl. While I was working, we talked for a while. I wrapped up late, well after dark, and when I asked her about the final payment of the last $8,000 that she owed, she jumped me. And when she jumped him, I don't mean like she beat him up. She jumped him, got physical. Well, suffice to say, the big head was running on fumes, and the small head took over. Well, doesn't it usually work that way? Smack! How do you think this? You don't mix business with pleasure. This is your company. This is your reputation. Anything can happen from this. Well, Megan was very experienced with riding horses, and as a result, I didn't last very long. Gee, where'd she get that experience from? She grabbed a towel to clean up down there and said, well, that should more than cover the bill. And then she told me to leave. I was dumbstruck. I told her not a chance and that she owed the full balance. Can you see how out of hand this can get if she wants to get it out of hand. $8,000 ain't worth a pussy. There ain't no pussy out there worth $8,000. Well, she argued with me for a bit, both of us still butt naked. I reminded her that the contract gave her a week to pay until upon completion of the job, and told her I would see her in court after that. Dude, she could see you in court, or she could see you arrested when she calls the police, makes up a bunch of things, and you're taken out of there in handcuffs. Well, she gave up and told me to wait a minute. She went upstairs and came back with a little over $6,000 in cash. She's keeping that much cash around? Well, she stopped in front of me, and just before handing me the cash, she spread her legs and squatted. She put the money right under her caboose and wiped a huge glob of my love juice that had worked its way all over the cash. The fuck, man? She then slapped the cash in my hand and said, F you. Ugh. I was done at that point and walked out. The rest of the money wasn't worth fighting with her over. Well, that's what she wanted. Now, I'm sure a bunch of you at this point are like, this is bullshit. No, that didn't happen. Guys, there's a lot of fucking weirdos out there. A lot of wackos. Crazier things have happened. You know this. And that's why I'm doing it, because you never know. It certainly is a hell of a story. But we're just getting started. Well, I moved on with my life. When a few years later I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. Well, that's why you don't pick up the fucking phone so you get a number you don't recognize. I never answer any phone. I never answer the phone for any number I don't know. Always the voicemail. I answered the call, and it was a woman claiming to be a customer who owed me some money. She gave me the address, and I looked at the job. Once I realized who it was, I almost hung up the phone. Instead, I arranged to meet her to collect the payment. I showed up to her place to collect. When I opened the door, she was standing there while holding a 3-year-old boy. Obviously, you didn't wear protection that night when you got your $6,000, I asked her if she had the money she owed me, and she shot back that I actually owed her back child support. Well, my brain broke at that point, and the next thing I remember, I was driving home on autopilot with my phone ringing nonstop. That girl's the gift that keeps on giving. Obviously, you're going to paternity test, but this is your kid, obviously, how that goes. For one crazy, probably barely 5 minutes with that chick back 3 years earlier. Well, the kid was mine. A DNA test confirmed it. The guy she was dating at that time thought he was the dad. He found out he was not. Her money was gone, and the guy who was paying her bills managed to get his name removed from the birth certificate, and he took off. Well, good for him, because it shouldn't be on the birth certificate. So what's the girl going to do? She's going to go track down the guy who had no idea he had a kid out there. So she tracked down every single guy who could possibly have been the father, and of course she saved the best for last. Well, isn't it nice for her? You own your own business, good solid living and all that. Well, I got to know my son after hashing it out in court. Every other weekend in exchange for $1,800 a month in child support. That's $1,800 for every other weekend? Oh, yay. Over the next couple of years, I got to know Megan better as well. I would then go on to make the biggest mistake of my life. I asked her out on a date. Smack! What? After how she behaved? After she's the town scooter? Are you fucking kidding me? You think it's going to get better? Well, Megan has started a business putting up horses for rich West Coast snobs. She had stables on her property. She made decent money between that and studying out her prize horse. I got a vasectomy because deep down I think I knew not to sign up for another 18 years of financial obligation to her, but I was stupid enough to, wait for it, marry her. Smack! Brother, it was bad enough you slept with her. It was bad enough that you freaking picked up the phone. It was bad enough that you freaking started dating her. But you married this crazy bee? How do you think that's going to go? Oh my God. Well, fast forward a year into COVID, and I have an amazing son who came with a woman who is the most frustrating woman you could ever be with. That's on you, dude. I'm not feeling bad for you. Come on here. You can have your son. You don't have to marry her. Well, the mask came off a year after being married. Well, normally I'd say it usually does, but her mask was right there for you that night. It was a dead bedroom, constant fighting, and I was about to divorce her. Well, I woke up to go to work after a really nice shouting match that lasted half the night, sometime in early June. I walked out to the work truck, which I found had a smashed windshield. Of course, was she listening? What was that? Who was that singer that had that song that was big like 20 years ago or 15 years ago about like, you find out the guy cheats when he cheats, and she, talking about the Louisville Slugger to both headlights, that line. I guess she was listening to that song. I was done at that point, and I called the police. They took their sweet time getting there, and she was nowhere to be found. I hadn't seen her all morning. Well, the police show up, look around, and ask where my wife was. I told them I haven't seen her all that morning, but her car was still here, so she was on the property. I told them the only other place she could be was the stables. I walked them over to the main door. I know what's coming. I walked them over to the main door, and they had me wait outside. A few seconds later, I hear the female officer scream, and a horse startled. A whole bunch of screaming erupted, and the officer out there with me ran into the building. I ran in after him, and what I saw is still burned into my brain. My wife was butt naked and pinned under her prize horse, Buck. He had fallen on her. Nice name for the horse, Buck. Okay, again, you guys haven't caught on to what's going on here. She's butt naked, pinned under the horse, her prized horse, the stud. Megan is still with us, though she is far worse than for wear. Broken legs, crushed pelvis, as well as substantial internal contusions from having a horse member ram up there with the full weight of the horse behind it. She was life flighted out and in surgery. A year later, she was recovered enough to go through with the divorce. She narrowly avoided jail for animal bad things, lost her business license, lost custody of the horses, and most importantly, our son. Thank God. Thank God. That is fucking disgusting. But we're not done yet. The cops would later find a whole bunch of videos that she was selling to strangers online. Those types of videos of really effed up things are out there, guys. I haven't seen anything like that ever. Not that I wanted to see anything like that, but those videos, I'm assuming, are out there. Lots of videos and clips of really disturbing things. I can think of a few extremely disturbing things I've seen in my life when I was a young lad with my bros and the internet first came about and you could find things, and that burned in memory too, but not this type of stuff. It turns out that she was selling buck stuff online to horse breeders. Ugh. She made a number of videos showing how she extracted the samples that she would sell to these pervs. While the judge in her criminal case let her off the hook, the family court judge did not. Well, thank God for that judge. My son and I moved far away from the West Coast. Megan is in a wheelchair last I knew and is financially ruined. So yeah, stay away from the crazy horse girls. They are nuts. The end. So guys, you can see why this story is more appropriate over here than doing the main channel. And I know there's going to be guys, nope, SSM, I don't buy this. This is a bunch of bull crap. Or this is a bunch of horse crap. Perhaps. I don't want to insult the guy that sent this in because it's, you never know. But there's crazy shit out there. People are crazy. And sadly, why do you think you hear about donkey shows in Mexico or Tijuana or something like that? And other things. But also she was, aside from relations with it for videos, getting his horse juice to sell to, I don't know how that would last. It would have to be kept warm. Was she sending it by fucking UPS to the horse breeders? But putting that shit aside, ugh. So what do we learn? What have we learned from today's story here. Aside from the fact to avoid the horse girls, how gals will baby trap you, how you don't mix business with pleasure, how you don't pick up the phone when you see phone numbers you don't know. I can go on here, but there are some seriously messed up freaking people. But thank God you got a good judge, in the family court at least. They handled it well. Now, I think being paralyzed is just so horrible. I feel bad for people, but I gotta say I can't feel too bad for her on multiple fronts that happened to her. And now she's with no money, and obviously a ward of the state, probably getting her lifestyles being funded by taxpayer money and all that. But I hope your son is far away from her, doesn't have to see her, because she is nuts. So guys, next time when your little head is trying to do all the thinking for you, think long and hard. And for God's sakes, if you're going to, long and hard, think long and hard, putting aside the joke. And for God's sakes, if you're going to do it with a crazy chick, for heaven's sake, wear protection. Because you can be dealing with that crazy chick for life after all that. Alright guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. I can't wait to hear the comments on this story. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.